Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be creating a disappearing platform. So whenever we walk on here, our platform will fade out a bit and then it'll let our character fall through and we'll reset and have to start our level again. And also whenever it disappears, it will reappear, and once it fully comes back, we can step on it again and it'll be good as new. All right, and after we're done, if you want to hang around a little bit longer, I'll show you how I used this material that I found in the world to create this kind of dynamic sort of material, and maybe we'll add some sound. It's just something that I found on this star material over here for these shooting stars that you might see flying around sometimes. All right, let's get started, guys. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is go to our content drawer, and we're going to create a new material. But first, let's add a new folder for our materials, and then open this up, right click in here and add a new material. We're going to name this something like m_disappearing floor. Open this up and let's create a color. So let's add a 3 vector node. If you hold 3 on your keyboard and left click, it'll create this node where we can kind of select our color. Let's go ahead and go for a kind of a bluish kind of color here. And now if we add a multiply node by holding M on our keyboard and left clicking, and also a parameter node by holding S on our keyboard, we can name this something like brightness, and then let's link these up together, and then connect this to our base color and also our emissive color. Now let's add another parameter node and name this opacity. Connect this to our opacity. It's not highlighted right now, but it will in a second. Now let's also add another parameter node, or not a parameter. If we hold 1 on our keyboard and left click, we'll be able to adjust the values this way and connect this to our roughness. So there we are. All right. So now, why this is shaded, we need to change some settings over here on our main material. So make sure you left click kind of in the open space so it shows our whole material. And in our blend mode, we want to set this to translucent. And then down here in lighting mode, we want to select surface translucency volume. All right, there we are. Now let's make sure we set our brightness to 1 and our opacity to 1. That should be fine. We're going to hit apply, and then let's go ahead and drag our floor over here. Now what we're going to do is go to our blueprint folder, right click, add a new blueprint class of type actor, name this BP_disappearing floor. Open this up. Let's add a simple cube, and let's scale this to where we need it for our player to step on. And then we're going to add a box collision. And then scale this up to match it. Let's go ahead and fit this in right. If we go to our perspective and hit top down, that's actually pretty good. We can probably adjust it a little bit. Let's do 1.6. 1.55. There we go. Perfect. Now if we go back to perspective, how's it looking? We can probably adjust this down a little bit. There we are. That's all we need. Compile this. Let's go ahead and add our material in here. So if we go select our box, our cube, and go to materials, let's go ahead and search for our m_disappearing floor. There we have it. And we're going to go right into our event graph to begin programming this. Now in here, we just need the event begin play. So let's delete all this And we're going to drag out from here and create a material instance for box. No, not box. Create material instance for our cube. Let's go ahead and rename this to floor. There we go. Now if we go ahead and select our source material, we're gonna go search for our M disappearing floor. Great. Now from here we can actually right click on this return value and promote this to a variable. And let's go into our details panel up here and just name this material instance. And then if we drag out from this blue pin and do scalar or set scalar parameter value material instance, this will pop up here. And our parameter name needs to be the same as what we called our material up here. So disappearing floor. So let's go ahead and set this as disappearing floor. It needs to be the same, caps lock and everything. And then we're just going to be done with that part. All right, great. So now that we've done this, let's go ahead and set it so that whenever we step on our floor, it starts to disappear. So if we right click our box collision and hit add event on component begin overlap, let's go ahead and set it so that only our player can step on it. So from other actor, let's type in VP underscore third person character or whatever the name of the character you're using. And this is also important. Something I had to figure out is we need to set it so that it only activates our disappearing effect whenever it's not disappearing, or else it causes a bunch of issues. So in order to do this, we need to create a new variable, and we're going to call it is disappearing, and it's going to be of type Boolean. And if we drag this out and hit get, and we're going to create a branch from this, let's go ahead and connect this up. So if this is disappearing, or more importantly, if it's not disappearing, we're going to set the disappearing value as true, because we're going to activate this. So let's go ahead and move this over. And from here, let's go ahead and set it so that we add a timeline, and let's name this just disappearing floor time. And first things first, we don't want it to be on play. We want it to be on play from start. If we do it on play, it'll only play it once and we can only step on the platform once. Play from start, it'll keep replaying this timeline over and over. So let's open up our timeline, hit add track, add float track, and disappearing float track. Okay, that's fine. We're just gonna make this 3 seconds long, and let's add some keys in here. So if I right click, hit add key, we're gonna set the time at 0 and the value at 1. We're gonna add a new key, add key, and we're gonna set the time to 1 and set the value to also 1. And for our last one, we're gonna add key, and we're gonna set the time to 3, which is how long our timeline is, and then we're gonna set the value to 0. So if we zoom out here, we see our keys. Let's select our 2 keys here, right click, hit auto, and it gives it some nice curvature here so that it blends pretty nicely. So if we hit compile and go back to our event graph, now once we're going to drag from update, we're going to do set scalar parameter node. No, it's actually from here. Set scalar parameter value. Let's go ahead. We need a copy of our material instance. So if we drag our material instance over here, hit get material instance, and we're going to do set scalar parameter value. So now we can connect our disappearing track to our value. Let's go ahead and move these up. Connect this to the update. And our parameter name is going to be our opacity, which we named in our material up here. So this will cause the opacity to disappear on our timeline. Now when we're finished, we want to set the collision so that we can fall through the floor. So we're going to do set collision. Let's go up here. It's set collision enabled, and we want to make sure it's our floor. So let's go ahead and drag this out. There's our target, and we want to make sure the type is no collision. So now we'll be able to fall through our floor. Let's go ahead and test this out. So in our world here, let's go ahead and find our blueprint, drag this out into our space. If we hold Alt, we can make a copy, and let's go ahead and test it out. If we step on here, we can see it slowly beginning to fade. And if we wait, we'll fall through. Great. All right, now if we go back here, now we want it to reappear. So once it's finished and we have our set collision enabled, basically what we're going to want to do is copy all this. So if we Control D, we'll copy this and drag it down. We're going to basically connect this up and make sure it's connected to play from start, open our new timeline, and on here we need to just adjust the variables. So basically we're starting at a disappearing floor, so we want the value to be 0, 0 again, and then we can go ahead and set our last value to 1 so that it fully reappears. We can adjust this kind of however we want. So let's go ahead and bring it up like that. And if we go to our finish, we have all of our other variables pretty much how we want them. The only thing that we're going to change is we're going to set the collision type to collision enabled. And for our last step, we're going to get our is disappearing variable and drag this to our final piece, and we're going to make sure is disappearing off so that it lets it know that we can run our function again. Great, so if we compile this and go back to our spaceship here, let's go ahead and hit play. If I step on here, let me not get too far ahead so we know it's working. So now it reappears, and you can adjust the timing, but we can step back on it. So there we are. You got to make sure it loads fully first. So you can adjust the settings on that, but yeah, there we have it, folks. Disappearing floor. Okay, so that's how you make a disappearing floor. If you want to stick around a little bit longer, I'm going to show you how we use this material as our new floor. And this is just in the pack. It was a shooting star material, but we're going to be using it and also maybe add some sound effects. So in order to do this, if you're using the CS Defender pack, you can either look up MI star and it'll pull up, or if you find it in your world, you can select it and go down here to the folder with the magnifying glass to pull it up. So let's go ahead and right click this and duplicate it, and we're just going to name this MI stars with a Z. And if we double click this to open it up, we're going to go down to our details panel and we're going to find the parent class. Double click this to open it up, and in here we got to change a few settings. So on blend mode, translucent, and our lighting mode, we want to make sure that surface translucency volume is enabled. Now let's hold S and left click to create a new parameter. Name this opacity. And then connect this to here. Make sure the default value is 1. And then on our disappearing floor blueprints, we just gotta switch out the material. So on our source material, we're just going to look up MI stars, the one we just created. And then our parameter name, we're just gonna type stars with a Z. We're gonna compile this. And let's go ahead and go to our disappearing floor. And in here, we're going to go to our content drawer and get our material instance. Make sure we have our floor selected, and we're gonna drag our material over here on this, compile it again, and let's drag our blueprint in the world. So if we go to content, blueprints, disappearing floor, let's go ahead and drag a few of these out. Hit play. Now whenever I walk on them, you'll see that they're disappearing. Awesome, guys. All right, one other thing I wanted to add was if we go to our blueprint here, I want to add a sound. So whenever we call our function and it turns out to be false, so we actually begin it, I just want to call a play 2D sound. And then I just want to look for something here. Floating UI. We'll just do something. You can change it to whatever you'd like. So we have that, and if we compile this again, go to our spaceship, hit play. I don't know if you can hear it that well, but it plays something. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.